I had a pretty good meeting with some members of Ramp Management, Corporate Safety, and GSE, Ground Service Equipment technicians that keep our equipment in repair. I have a couple of good takeaways from that. First and foremost was we talked about the quantities of equipment that we have, and there were a few things that stuck out for me. With respect to belt loaders, and this is including the Power Stows, we have 14 more than we are allocated for. So certainly not a problem with the belt loaders. Likewise, pushbacks, push tugs, whatever you want to call them, depending on what generation you're from, I guess. We have 10 more than we are allocated. So we're doing really well on that as well. Where we have a pretty significant deficiency is bag tugs. We have 3 spares, and we should have 16. That was a stark reminder of some of the things that are a hindrance to us in our operation. So if we have 4 bag tugs that go down or are missing somewhere, or can't be found, then we are truly deficient. We really do not have the equipment that we should have to do. So that's something Denise and I are going to be working on in the near future to try and get more bag tugs allocated to this station. Also, the de-icing truck still doesn't work. It's missing a valve. They're working on that. Hopefully, and the next week they'll have some more information on the de-icing truck. I know it's still almost 100 degrees outside, but that's the sort of thing that we think about in the future. Another thing we talked about were the ME250s. One of the things, and this is going to come as no surprise to anybody that's been around for any period of time, is we have a bad time filling these out and calling pieces of equipment in. And I get it. I know why. It's because if you call in your piece of equipment because it's, ostensibly broke, you don't have that piece of equipment. You got to scramble to get another one. And that's obviously, with what I just said about only having 3 spares on the bag tugs, that's going to be very true as far as the bag tugs are concerned. The problem with that is we end up driving broken equipment longer than we should. So just as a reminder to everybody, it's important that we use these ME250s whenever we come across something that needs repair. So that's step 1. Fill it out correctly. There's some things on here that I kind of don't care about, but I'd like to know the date because we do keep an eye on that, even though GSE does a pretty good job of tracking that stuff too. If for some reason a piece of equipment doesn't get called in, at least we can go back and look and say, okay, well, this has been sitting here for 3 or 4 days or a week, and why is it still sitting here? Put your name on it so we can ask you some questions about it if we don't know what's going on. Location of equipment, obviously, that's going to be pretty evident, I think, when you call it in. And it is okay for you to call it in. If you have a radio, you can call GSE and say, I have this piece of equipment at this location and it won't start, or whatever the reason is. And then be sure to put the tag on it. Now, there's some folks out there that remember from the old days that a good marker for a broken tug was to put the hood up. And that's not okay. What has happened and what could happen again is the hood gets put down again. Maybe the tug starts, no tag on it, and then somebody drives away with it without the hood latches being latched. Now, obviously, that's something you should check prior to driving away, but this sort of thing happens. And I say that because it has happened. Hood gets in a jet blast, hood comes up, and hits the driver square in the forehead. And it's not just conjecture, it has actually happened. So please be careful with that. Don't put the hoods up on broken piece of equipment. Go get your tag, go get your supervisor, your crew chief, or somebody to get a tag. These are available in UDO and some other strategic places around the airport. Easy to find, easy to fill out. Tear off a couple of copies, keep one for yourself, get one to the safety office here under Gate Alpha 2. So in other news, put that back over there. On Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, the company and corporate safety and union safety are going to do a seatbelt push. Now, the only reason that Denise and I are going to be involved in this at all is because we've been given assurances that this is purely informational. This is not going to be punitive. In fact, it is going to be rewarded. What the idea is is that we are going to recognize good, correct seatbelt use behavior. I don't need to talk about why it's important to wear seatbelts. The company produced a very good video last year or earlier this year. I don't remember. I don't do time very well. But they produced a very good seatbelt video this year about people falling out of pieces of equipment. And when we were talking about this with Pat Flannery at Corporate Safety the other day, he was able to come off the top of his head with 10 incidents here in Phoenix that were a direct result of people not wearing seatbelts. So I know there is a faction of you out there that don't agree with wearing the seatbelts. You know, obviously it's an OSHA rule, it's a company rule. I'm not going to touch the compliance factor of it. I actually do, from watching the data, from watching the videos and those sorts of things, I do actually think they make a difference. So disagree with me if you want, that's fine. Regardless, on Tuesday we're going to be out on the ramp, mostly at the ABR Corral, and just reminding people of good usage. And you know, if you're found to be doing it correctly and wearing your seatbelt where you're supposed to be, your name's going to end up in a hat for a drawing for some A&B points or some other prizes or those sorts of things. So no paperwork coming on Tuesday. It's general amnesty for seatbelt usage, but it is something that we are going to be focused on. Last today, and I know I haven't done one of these in a while. I had COVID for a month and I wasn't feeling up to making videos for a little while. But here's the last one for today. Last Friday, I had the pleasure of spending the day with Davey Snowden. And some of you may remember Davey Snowden as the guy who puts together the Pristine Condition program, which helped us learn how to prevent injury with safe lifting techniques. And of course, this is effectively the only system there is that has a proven track record to actually work. And after spending the day with Davey, and I can't say enough about the energy of this guy. He takes it very, very seriously, and he truly believes in what he's doing. And from a statistical standpoint, it does appear that companies that employ the Pristine Condition system do show a reduction in on-the-job injuries based on lifting, on heavy lifting. So we did a little bit of promo filming. They're going to roll it out in Miami, and that's what that was for. But they're going to reintroduce it here in Phoenix as well here in the coming months to give us kind of a refresher for those that know the Pristine Condition system, and for those that maybe have not gone through any of the classes, any of the training, and that sort of thing. So, and I know there's some detractors out there that aren't convinced as to the effectiveness of the Pristine Condition, and I get that. You know, that's fine. But what I have seen is that there is a degree of effectiveness to it, and I highly encourage anybody that is able to learn this Pristine Condition training, please do, and please employ it in your job, because it will help. I mean, it won't prevent it, but it will help mitigate some of the injuries that we sustain in our line of work. You know, this is the real deal. This is labor, and you know, we can get hurt doing what we do, and many of us have been hurt doing what we do because we had no idea what we were doing before this system came along. I try to employ it when I can, when it is easier to do, and fortunately that's fairly frequently. There's some things that I asked Davey to work on for us, mostly how to do it in a baggage hold when you can't stand up straight, when you can't get your body weight over whatever it is that you're trying to lift, and those sorts of things. So those are something that he's going to help work on also when he comes back and works on a few more things with us. So anyway, that's all I've got right now. Denise is going to go to a meeting with management this afternoon to discuss some of the things that we've talked about here today and some things we've got coming up. But in the meantime, questions, comments?